So welcome back to Dapp University. So today we've got a lot to talk about. There's so many things that happened in the crypto space yesterday since our live stream that we did about this time yesterday. So we have these live streams Monday through Friday on this channel about 9:30 a.m. Central Time. Just subscribe, turn on notifications down below. You'll find out about those whenever we go live. But today we're going to talk about a massive piece of news, which is Visa's new crypto project. That's centered particularly around Ethereum. Okay, we're talking about that, why this is such a big deal. We're going to answer some of your questions, check on the crypto markets, and a lot more. So if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to learn how to master blockchain step by step, start to finish, then head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp to get started today. Last but not least, nothing I'm saying in this video is designed to be financial advice, and there's lots of scammers down in the comment section below. Just ignore them. Like, I'll never give you my phone number or ask you to invest with me. That would be crazy. All right, so we got people jumping in the chat here. We got Culture Hives, Ajit, David, Kaz, Brad, Mo, ZeroFX, Rodrigo, Heath, Chris, Maddie, Cryptecology, Gertej, Brick. Welcome, welcome. All right, so let's get into this first piece of pretty exciting news. All right, I'm excited to talk about this one. So Visa unveils Layer 2 network for stablecoins and central bank digital currencies. Okay. So this is not the first that we have seen Visa get into the crypto space. All right. If you've been following me for a while, you might have seen the news earlier this year, or maybe you weren't following me. Maybe you're just in the crypto space, where Visa was launching their pilot payments program, where they were testing things out, and they were actually using Ethereum as a settlement layer for this particular experiment. Okay. So we've seen Visa definitely express strong interest in the crypto space to see how they can innovate and evolve as this space becomes more and more relevant to their industry. And here we see this new effort to unveil a Layer 2 network for stablecoins and central bank digital currencies. Okay, so let's dig into the details about how this works. So in brief, Visa wants to build a universal hub to exchange stablecoins and central bank digital currencies. It's calling the proposal Layer 2, a universal payments channel. The project is still in its early stages. So credit card giant Visa has bet big on crypto in the last 2 years, foregoing relationships with blockchain companies and even buying a CryptoPunk NFT. I remember that happening earlier this year. It's pretty crazy. Now the company is expanding its crypto ambitions. So Visa announced Thursday this plan that they want to do, basically integrate digital currency equivalent to existing international payment experience, one that lets you pay for something in another country with a debit card or credit card that draws funds from your account in your home country. So basically, how this works now on legacy networks, what they're saying is it's so crazy. And this is one thing I've talked about is some people, I see these takes online all the time, like, I still don't see a relevant need for cryptocurrency. It doesn't solve a real problem. Blockchain is a solution in search of a problem. It's not, because this is a clear example of how blockchain can actually make something that's exists now way better. Is better, faster, cheaper is just the name of the game in tech. And when you're talking about an international payment, there's all this insane fat in the legacy financial rails that this has to go through. It's not settled instantly. Like you have lots. It's very questionable whether that transaction is really going to settle or not. And so this speeds that entire thing up, and that's one of the reasons that Visa is working on this stablecoin payment solution. So anyways, that's sort of the problem that it solves. So anyways, he talked about the initiative to do this. And we definitely see central bank digital currencies wanting to get into this space, but he's saying Visa's initiative to the Layer 2 solution is being developed on Bitcoin and Ethereum projects, process initial transaction on a separate layer from the underlying blockchain, and then use a blockchain to finalize them. So we talk about Layer 2s a ton on this channel, particularly for the Ethereum network being a place where you can achieve a lot of scalability now with Ethereum without upgrading to Ethereum 2.0. Now, Ethereum 2.0 in and of itself will not give us all the scalability that we need to go to mass adoption, but Ethereum 2.0 plus Layer 2s built on top of that are the grand vision for the long term, and that's exactly what they're talking about here for Visa. It's basically building a proprietary Layer 2 where you could do a lot of transactions inside this particular layer, and that gets its security from a more robust blockchain where the eventual result is settled back on that blockchain. And so you can see he's talking about that. So you're talking about how, unlike layer 2 solutions such as the Lightning Network, which help Bitcoin scale, universal payment channels focus on interoperability, making it easy to change from one currency to another. And that's what they're talking about, basically making this interoperable layer 2 that can work across multiple cryptocurrencies, multiple blockchains. So to facilitate this, Visa plans to rely on a type of smart contract known as a hashed time lock contract. So this is an established pattern that is used already in crypto. We'll actually see a test of this particular contract that I'll show you here in a minute. If you want to check it out on Etherscan, it's actually live on a test network. So for this to work, basically, Visa will persuade companies and national governments to devote developer resources to build digital wallets compatible with its proposed universal channel. So basically, they'll establish the channel, they'll establish how it works and say, hey, if you want to use this, then you need to have a wallet that works with this, okay? So Visa also noted that its payment channel, which grew up academic researchers in academic research lab in Silicon Valley, is still in an early stage. So anyways, let's just keep kind of going down here. They're talking about how it can support multiple things, USDC tether, multiple currencies, talking about the importance of central bank digital currencies. But here's one of the final kickers that I really want to stress here. So while some fear that Bitcoin could easily be sidelined by more official forms of digital money, it's equally likely that various networks will come to intersect. Visa, for instance, says the proposed base layer for its universal payments channel is Ethereum. So unless something changes, that's what they're going with. Okay, so we can actually proof of this. I'll show you here. Let me find it. You can actually see the contract. Here's the address. So this is from head of crypto at Visa, actually. Okay, so this is not just like a guess. This is Visa's actual proposed universal payment channel contract. So if you want to check this out, I'll actually put a link to the tweet in the live chat replay here. So if you are a developer and you want to go look at how their universal payment channel works. Now this is an early experiment. Okay, this is not like, okay, here's Visa's payment channel that they're like off to the races with. This is still early phases. They're trying things out, but like this is a version on the test network on Etherscan on Ropsten. So anyways, I'm not gonna go through and read through the code on this today. Maybe we can make a separate video on that if you're interested in how those payment channels work. But yeah, so yeah, this is huge. All right. I don't think I need to totally belabor the point about why this is huge. I mean, it's pretty crazy. I think the big problem that it's solving here is the better, faster, cheaper in terms of payments. Some people say, well, Ethereum's not cheap to use. Well, that's why they're using a layer 2. Okay. And we see the interoperability being a pretty big use case here, all the type of stuff. You know, Visa's super, super relevant for mass adoption of blockchain. All right, so let's go. Let's actually check out what's going on with the crypto markets here. Well, actually, no. Before we do that, let's talk about the next thing. In the spirit of mass adoption, let's talk about this because it was a pretty big news day for crypto. Lots of really cool things. So we talked about Twitter kind of getting more into the blockchain space, how they propose to support NFTs on their platform, and also how they propose to support like Bitcoin Lightning payments, all that type of stuff. Okay, so I actually want to play a video where they have an overview of their proposed NFT verification feature for Twitter. So the whole idea is, I actually talked about this on one of my live streams, about how you could easily integrate this at Twitter or build your own third-party app to integrate this, where you could basically like just connect your Twitter account to your Ethereum account. You could sign a message or something like that, connect your wallet, whatever it is. It could pull in your NFTs, and then you could just display your NFT avatar there. Maybe you could rotate it out once a day. You could do a carousel type of thing if you have multiple NFTs, but then you could have an official badge that shows that you actually own this, and this kind of replaces the blue check mark on Twitter. You know, one of the horrors of centralization, Twitter is like it's insanely hard to get, blue check mark. Like you have to give all this personal information over to them, and then there's like no guarantee they'll even give you the check mark. They might think you're not influential enough to deserve a check mark. You might just be caught in the backlog, whatever it is. This is kind of crazy. But this is actually a pretty cool way where you can sort of, automate away the blue check mark backlog, or log jam, I should say, bottleneck. Now, that being said, all this proves is that you were able to purchase an NFT that's now expensive. It doesn't really guarantee anything about your identity, unless we have NFTs that will give you identity later. But let's just check this out. I think you'll like this. Let me see if I can play the video.
Hello. So as promised, I wanted to show you some experiment we did about NFT. So basically, you would be able to edit your profile, click on your avatar, and select NFT. From this, you would be able to connect to your wallets and choose your preferred wallet. So for the purpose of the experiment, I'm just mocking the backend. So after confirming, you will be able to download all your NFT from OpenSea, select one, and then you will have your NFT as your avatar with the Ethereum check mark, showing that this NFT has been minted on Ethereum blockchain. If you click on collectible as well, you can see the collection of NFT you have. If you have any feedback or ID, please don't hesitate to share. Thank you.
Awesome. So I think that's pretty killer. I really like how they have the actual blockchain, overlaid on the avatar itself. The one reason I think this is pretty cool is because right now with NFT badges, like there's nothing to prevent somebody from right-clicking, saving the NFT, and then adding it to their profile, right? So this fixes that problem. Then the other thing is we have all these derivative NFTs that exist on other, different blockchains, and people still value NFTs of a certain chain over others. Part of it just got to do with the, which one was the original. So a crypto punk is going to be worth more than like a Binance punk or so somebody else that got forked, right? Typically speaking. And so now you have this ability to prove which chain you also hold the NFT on. And it's pretty cool that they have this little, badge that actually overlaps the avatar here, so there's no way to fake it, right? You can tell this is actually on the Twitter UI itself. You can't just like Photoshop a blockchain logo on top of your profile picture. So it's pretty awesome. It was pretty well thought out, and that's pretty cool too that you can go through and actually see your different collectibles underneath the tab. Definitely going to be a way for people to, kind of show off what they got. So it's pretty cool. And this is really important for crypto space because it adds legitimacy for people, when they're using this as part of their reputation. So I think it's awesome. What about copycat contracts? Yeah, it's a good question. I would think that maybe an easy way to solve that is when you look at their collectibles, that you could find some sort of information about them. Like, let's just say you could look at this and maybe it had some sort of UX where you could like tap on the punk or whatever the NFT is, and maybe it flips over. And when it flips over, maybe it has some information about it. Maybe it has like the smart contract address, and maybe it has like, the ID of the collectible, or maybe like an external link where you could just like click on it and it would take you to the OpenSea page or the Etherscan page, whatever. You may not even need that. Maybe it just has the address and the ID. Address is good enough. All right, so something else that came out yesterday, which was unfortunate, was actually a bug with Compound Finance. Okay, so I've talked about Compound quite a bit on this channel. Compound is a very influential DeFi project in this space. Super early to the game. Compound finance was actually one of my major aha moments with decentralized and DeFi when I realized what was truly possible with blockchain technology. Because, I got into the crypto space around 2017. Back then, that's when I started really getting to Ethereum. And back then, we had ICOs, we had tokens, we had some ideas about what we could do with blockchain, but it was a very experimental time. I mean, you had all these people raising money saying, like, we're going to build this on the blockchain, we're going to build that in the blockchain. And some of these ideas just didn't really work. But we knew there was massive potential, especially around financial transactions, but we didn't exactly know what that looked like. And so, the entire industry was in a very experimental phase in 2017, 2018. And me personally, I think it was 2019 when I first saw compound finance and I saw the savings and lending ability and was like, whoa, like this is pretty crazy. Especially when talking about, getting yield on stablecoins and taking out loans. Especially in the middle of a bear market. That's when it was pretty critical, and everybody's just getting absolutely wrecked in crypto, but you could just take DAI and go stick it into compound, and you could get interest on your crypto. That was pretty crazy. So anyways, compound has suffered a bug that resulted in people getting a lot of comp tokens, more comp tokens than they should. So let's go through this, have a little bit of a post-mortem here. So a few hours ago, Proposal 62 went into effect, updating the comptroller contract, which distributes comp to users of the protocol. So Compound Finance is a savings and lending app. They also have a token, Comp, and if you use Compound Finance, you can get rewarded by claiming Compound tokens. And they have a specific smart contract in the architecture called the comptroller, which is this, named after the comptroller of the currency. And this had a bug, okay? And so basically some users, whenever they went to go claim their tokens, received way too many tokens, okay? So basically all supplied assets, borrowed assets and positions are completely unaffected. Users don't have to worry about their funds. The only risk that you or another user receives is claiming an unfairly large quantity of comp. So the comptroller contract is this. Contains a limited amount of comp, so the downside risk is limited for this. All right. At worst, it's 280 comp tokens. So how this happened actually was, Compound is now, to my best understanding, under decentralized governance completely. I think it is. And so, well, whether it is completely or not, the whole point is there are changes that can actually be made to the protocol by the community. And so what you're seeing is what's happening at decentralized governance, whereas basically proposals can be issued to upgrade the protocol to do things, and then community can actually write code to do that, and it can go through the governance process of approving it and actually upgrading the protocol. Like this is what's happening with decentralized autonomous organizations, all right, where people can contribute to this type of stuff. And so what they're saying is this is the greatest opportunity and the greatest risk for a decentralized protocol, that open development process can allow a bug to enter production. So it's opportunity because open development can happen, but it's also liability because a bug can go into production like this. So there are no admin controls or community tools to disable the comp distribution. So basically for 7 days, this bug is just out there. So any changes to the protocol require a 7-day governance process to make their way into production. Labs, the members of the community, are evaluating potential steps to patch the comp distribution. So last night, community members made a proposal to disable claiming comp, which can execute in 7 days. This will stem the risk of excess distribution, but also curtail normal distribution. In parallel, a patch to restart the distribution is in development. So that was unfortunate that this happened. The good news is the downside is pretty limited. And I expect that they will get this patched up and, kind of be on the straight and narrow after this. Now, the short term, I think that bodes well for the price of comp tokens. I don't think it's a death knell or anything like that to the compound protocol over the long term. Of course, we've seen lots of DeFi projects get straight up exploited, right? And they've been okay long term. Well, as long term as it can be in DeFi. But yeah, I expect compound to stay strong even in light of this adversity. So let's see here. So what about ETH supply shock? The ETH supply shock is still here. Part of that is part of it got to do with the overall crypto market and what's happening with that right now. We can actually check on that in a minute. Hold on. So somebody asked about ETH supply shock. So we have a deflationary block right here, a deflationary block right here, a deflationary block right here, and a deflationary block right here. So anything over 2/8 is going to be deflationary in terms of gas burn. We can see 24-hour leaderboard, OpenSea, of course, ETH transfers, Habo avatars. I hope I'm saying that right. So it looks like some a bunch of NFT projects. So NFTs are back. Yeah, pretty crazy. So let's actually I want to calculate. So 400,000 ETH has been burned. So 400,000, about $3,000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, $1.2 billion worth of ETH. Not too bad. So let's actually look on the check what's going on in the market. So, you know, I think we're still just kind of in this, you know, period where Bitcoin's making its mind up what one wants to do. I think the thing that's been good over the past 14 days or so is we've seen this resistance hold pretty well. Okay, this resistance around $40,000 seems to be pretty strong because I mean over 2 weeks we've touched it multiple times, and it's been pretty strong. So that's encouraging. I mean, if you look at it, we had a similar kind of strength in this resistance around $30,000 previously, and now we're putting in some pretty strong resistance around $40,000. So pretty similar stories for other crypto assets as well, especially in the majors like ETH. Let's just take a look here if I can get it to actually work. Okay, here we go. So similar story. We're seeing a pretty strong resistance around, $2,800, $3,000 for Ether. Let's just call it $2,800. We can see a very similar type of thing play out back here. Around $1,800, kind of when we hit this period down here. So one thing you can see here is even though we're hitting these resistance levels are increasing, and you can kind of look at this pattern over time. I'm still cautiously bullish, like I keep saying on this channel, because of all the adoption that we're talking about. I mean, we're talking about Visa launching a payments network secured by Ethereum where they can do interoperable international payments. Like, how more bullish for adoption can you get than that? So anyways, my long-term thesis on this channel is as you create more utility value for the cryptocurrencies themselves or for blockchain applications that people actually want to use, and that cryptocurrencies are a part of that equation, that value can actually accrue to the cryptocurrencies themselves, okay? And so when you see these resistance levels increase, and so as adoption happens, you tend to see, demand go up, and it tends to go up exponentially and therefore affect the price exponentially, okay? It's the whole Metcalfe's law thesis, network effect, having an exponential increase in cryptocurrency prices. So when you see these resistance levels, you're seeing them get higher and higher, and if you actually track the other resistance levels before, like every time it dips, if you were to you could still draw a parabola through this just at the resistance levels, okay? And if you're gonna look at it in log terms, it looks like basically a straight line, right? But if you look at it in linear terms, then it just looks like a parabola, going up, exponential, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And, these kind of periods through here, you could view them as the bubble-ish periods, all right? Maybe when ETH was at, $4,500 back in May, we were ahead of schedule, and things were a little bubble-ish, and, so you had a temporary correction, and maybe we overcorrected a little bit here, but still pretty much a straight line, through this in logarithmic terms, and pretty much a pretty clear curve in linear terms. And to me, nothing is changing in terms of that, even though we've seen China bans, even though we've seen some bearish price action lately. The adoption marches on forward. We see lots of rumors of an ETF in the U.S. happening soon. I'll believe it when I see it, but that would also be something insanely bullish. We've also seen a lot of fears about regulatory uncertainty around crypto and DeFi. But I did see this come out yesterday. We'll see if it's this looks like a screenshot, like a Bloomberg terminal. But talking about Gensler's view on BTC. So SEC chief Gary Gensler reiterates support for Bitcoin futures ETFs as the regulator continues to mull approval for crypto funds. So SEC Chairman Gary Gensler renewed support for a Bitcoin futures ETF. So the support came from prepared remarks for a Financial Times conference. SEC is reviewing more than a dozen ETF filings for Bitcoin and a Bitcoin futures product, among others, but none have been approved yet. All right. So we'll see if it's true. Oh, and we also did see some more interesting breakdown, the $23 million Ethereum transaction fee that got paid earlier this week. So this is, if you're with me on the live streams earlier this week, we talked about, a mistake where basically a transaction fee of $23 million was paid to send $100,000 worth of ETH. There's a lot of speculation on whether this was money laundering or not. I was always like, I don't think it's money laundering, because why would you be that conspicuous if you were going to, just burn $23 million in a single transaction? You'd probably do it a bunch of smaller transactions. But we have a postmortem and an explainer on this. So it's horrifying to read the diversified postmortem on the $23 million gas fee transaction. The fact that this can happen shows how broken crypto UX and priorities are. So a JavaScript library bug at error handling of decimal gas values in a hardware wallet displaying a fee as hex. Basically, a bug happened, and then the human reader on the hardware wallet had no idea what they were signing. That's what it sounds like. So, a user made a $100,000 USD deposit to Diversify. This was confirmed within 1 minute, but the transaction fee was for $23 million. So why did it happen? The underlying issue is in the Ethereum JS library, coinciding with gas fee changes associated with EIP 1559 upgrade. That can, in some circumstances, lead to transaction fees that are extremely high. So combine this with the fact that the Ledger hardware wallets may sometimes display fees in non-human readable manner, could have removed a key human safety check. So it was displayed in hex values and not actually like in numeric values. So only wallets with very large quantity of funds would be impacted. All other users would see a failed transaction. So basically, it's only going to affect a whale. That's crazy. So anyway, they identified it. They returned the funds. But man, I mean, it's like I would, I can't imagine what the person would feel once that happened. So it's not funny in that regard. But like, now that it's all said and done, and now that everybody's kind of got their money back, it's kind of funny. Mostly funny because it's just like, it's stranger than fiction, right? Like, there's so much that happens in this space that, I don't know. It's like you can't even bring this up in normie conversation because like nobody would even believe you. All right, see here. So I'm gonna try to answer like maybe one or two questions. We didn't get to do a bunch of questions today because we actually had a lot of really interesting things to talk about. So let's just see if I can answer a question or two. Then I'll go ahead and hop off for today. Somebody says, how do you think about Solana? So I made a video about Solana. Go to my YouTube homepage and find that. It's like one of the most recent videos. So what do I think about Axes and other play-to-earn games? So I think Axes is pretty crazy. I think it's pretty awesome what they've been able to accomplish. And it's definitely found product market fit. It's doing pretty well, and you're going to have lots of people who are going to try to mimic the success of Axes. The problem is there's a huge barrier of entry into a really good video game like that with play-to-earn experience. I mean, I think we're going to see lots of other people enter into the play-to-earn space because I mean, who doesn't want to play a video game and make money? And so there's huge incentives to do that type of thing. But the problem is, like, it's hard to make a really good game. Like, it's not that hard to fork a DeFi protocol and then add some unique value to it on the grand scheme of things. I mean, it's hard, but, like, relative. Like, forking a DeFi protocol, let's say it's, like, a 5 out of 10, but, like, making a AAA video game, it's like a 30 out of 10. All right, everybody. That's all I got for today. As always, smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. That really helps these videos out so the more people can learn about blockchain. And if you're as fast at this technology as I am, you want to get your hands dirty, how can you get started today? Well, you go to my YouTube homepage, you can find my free courses there. They're like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. And if you like those and you want to take the next step, or hey, maybe you want to take a master shortcut entirely, I can show you become a blockchain master step-by-step from start to finish over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. You don't have to be an expert to get started today. I've helped people with zero coding experience become real-world blockchain developers in a matter of months. So that's all I've got. And until next time, thanks for watching.